With so many podcasts out there, shows can get lost in the shuffle. That's why we implore you to check out Too Many Captains. You can find us at amoviepodcast.com.
5 unique takes on Hollywood movies and culture. Find us on Twitter at It's a Film Podcast.
Check our intellectual deep dives into theatrical films. Find us on Instagram at Too Many Captains Productions.
Unique takes on soundtracks. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Too Many Captains Productions.
Find us at amoviepodcast.com on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. And now, here comes a new episode of Collateral Cinema.
Tonight, on a special Halloween edition of The Director's Cut, we celebrate the spooky season by doing something a little different as we check out the 2000 horror spoof comedy Scary Movie. So stick around, boils and ghouls. The show starts right now. Welcome to Collateral Cinema Director's Cut. I'm Beau Maddox.
And I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And we are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas. And yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you got it. And happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo! Happy spooky season.
Yeah, it's finally the spooky season. It's Spooktober, I guess we could call it. Is that what Peacock is calling it anyways?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, who knows? Who cares? But anyway, this is actually our first ever Director's Cut Halloween, or maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm just misspeaking. Maybe I'm just being stupid. But if not, this is probably going to be our first real Halloween episode in a while, because I don't remember doing one for the Director's Cut last season.
No, I don't think we did. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember why that was the case, but I mean, here we are now. We're going to go ahead and do that now. So,
yeah, I think what happened is we couldn't get everybody together. But this season, I feel like we've really been on top of the month of October.
I'd like to think so as well. I mean, we just did our episode on Scream recently with Stu from SWO Productions.
Yeah, and we even kicked the season off with Necromantic, which itself is also a horror film.
Oh, yeah, a especially gushy horror movie. Yeah, a fun horror movie.
And then we're going to be doing our actual Halloween special and also at the movies review on Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills, I'm probably going to have a little bit of a controversial opinion about that movie, maybe.
I don't know. It seems real polarized. I don't know how that will be controversial, but we'll talk more about that on that episode.
Yeah, when we actually do the episode and everything.
We've seen it now, so.
Yeah, definitely. But the movie that we're doing tonight, as we said in the intro of this episode, we're doing Scary Movie. That's the movie by the Wayans brothers, directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans, who, by the way, I believe also did Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. That's a classic movie. We'll probably get into that here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this also had Zuckerberg and Friedman, or whatever their names are. It's like the dudes that made Date Movie and Epic Movie and just the worst dreck imaginable.
Their name is attached to this, but they don't actually have any involvement in the film.
No, they didn't write anything here. They tried to, market themselves as like, they're 2 of the 6 writers of Scary Movie. And it's like, that's only tangentially correct. It's like, yeah, you're just attached to the movie. You're not one of the writers of fucking Scary Movie. No matter what. I mean, yeah, maybe after about Scary Movie 3, they started to kind of have a little more control and started directing it. And you could see the quality just completely just dive.
Well, yeah, because you didn't have the Wayans brothers attached anymore.
Yeah, and the Wayans brothers, I mean, they've had their moments of crap, but they've had moments of brilliance as well. And Scary Movie is definitely one of their moments of brilliance here. I mean, it's the best of Sean and Marlon Wayans, definitely. I mean, it's really, some of their best performances. I mean, Marlon Wayans as Smokey, or that's his name? Smokey or something? Or am I thinking of Friday? I'm thinking of Friday.
Shorty,
yeah.
That's it, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I was thinking of Friday. Wrong stoner.
He is actually a great stoner character in this film.
He's fantastic, honestly. I mean, ironically, it makes him the most relatable character in the entire movie other than Cindy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, because he actually manages to somewhat survive the movie up till the very end, and it's because of his weed habit that's the case. He actually encounters the killer in the movie, and he gets him high. And
that is so fucking great. I love that whole sequence with, the Ghostface killer and his mask is changing. And
yeah, it's a lot of really, really innovative scenes.
It's straight up. What does he say after he rips the bong? That's the tank.
Oh, that's some good shit. That's actually a pretty classic stoner scene, like just in and of itself.
Fucking
really.
Great.
Fucking awesome, honestly. And I mean, this movie has flaws, but it's not anything that really ruins it for me. I mean,
no, I think it very much inhabits what it is. And so, you don't have to critique it from certain standards.
Yeah.
And I think that it really established itself that way because essentially it's a parody of a parody. I mean, it is a spoof movie of Scream and also I Know What You Did Last Summer, but mostly Scream, and even that itself was a satirical horror film. So it's sort of a parody of a parody.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that here in a little bit as far as, the relationship between Scream and Scary Movie, but honestly, when I was thinking about how to actually format this episode and whatnot, it's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult because, I mean, parody movies are so subjective and so hard to really review in and of itself. I mean, maybe you could do like a nostalgia critic style takedown, which he did of some of those movies, I believe. I think he actually had an episode that was, what happened to parody movies. But anyway, I mean, this movie comes from a very long tradition of parodies. I mean, it kind of goes back even all the way to when the talkies were first a thing back during the silent era, I mean, even going back to something that, Charlie Chaplin did with The Great Dictator.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
That's a straight up parody of Hitler at a time when it wasn't really well known that Hitler was a lunatic dictator at the time. They knew that he was up to something, but he was mocked roundly back then. But I mean, Charlie Chaplin was the one that took him seriously and actually used satire as kind of a weapon of, messaging, kind of in a propagandistic sense, but it's still in and of itself a very funny movie. Honestly, it's a long movie, but very funny.
I haven't seen it, but I know of it. I've seen clips and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you've seen the actual speech that he did. It's like one of the greatest recorded speeches of all time.
I think
like
so.
Cinematic or otherwise. I mean, I highly recommend it. Go look it up. Charlie Chaplin, The Great Dictator speech. It's really, really enthralling. But, I mean, movies like that gave way to stuff in the 60s and 70s that were more like, parody movies. They usually were very of their time, like at one time during the 60s and the 70s, there was more like James Bond. That was the big thing. There was a glut of like spy parodies that came out after James Bond became a thing. I think even Woody Allen dipped his toes into that. I mean, it's a movie called What's Up, Tiger Lily, I believe. But, fuck Woody Allen, so. But anyways, it's like during the late 70s and early 80s, it was like disaster movies. And that's where you get the real classics, like Airplane. Airplane is such a funny and fantastic movie, man. It's up there with another purveyor of parodies like Monty Python. It's up there with like Holy Grail as being just one of the funniest movies of all time. And And it's because they really Zaz, which was Zuckerberg, something in Zuckerberg. I don't remember the middle guy's name.
Zuckerberg.
There were two Zuckers involved there. But anyway, like Airplane is just all gags, and it's just all the better for it. And it's delivered by serious actors. That's what was great about it. You had Leslie Nielsen and Peter Graves, and I think at one time Robert Stack was in the movie somewhere. I mean, it's really interesting how they actually approached the comedy in that movie. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that was one of those movies that really laid the groundwork for parodies, like up to that time and then afterwards. I mean, of course, you can't talk about this sort of thing without talking about like Monty Python. I mean, we did episodes on the Holy Grail and on Life of Brian.
We've talked about both of those. And I want us to get into Mel Brooks as well. I mean, while we're on the subject of spoof movies.
Yeah, he was the one who actually elevated it to an art form. Him and the Pythons. I mean, especially with movies like, Robin Hood Men in Tights and Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, and of course, Spaceballs and Blazing Saddles.
Spaceballs. Oh, man, that is like one of the best parodies of anything, I think.
Honestly, yeah.
That's a perennially funny movie. A favorite movie of mine. I mean, I remember watching that when I was a kid and just being like, oh man, this is so awesome. Because I mean, even though I was never a huge Star Wars fan, I mean, I knew it well enough that, the parody that Mel Brooks was going for and what he was spoofing, it actually connected and it hit home and everything. And it was just like, oh wow. It's pretty much not unlike Scary Movie, it's a beat for beat retelling of its source material in a way.
I've already decided.
What?
Next season we're doing Spaceballs.
Okay, right on. I'm down for that all the way.
We're doing the Star Wars prequel trilogy next month.
Yeah.
So it's only natural. It would be the perfect thing to follow up with next season.
Exactly. That would be absolutely perfect.
And we've even gone so far as we did Fanboys. So
yeah, Fanboys is not so much a parody. Fanboys was more of a straight satire, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it will be kind of interesting to talk about all of those, but. Yeah, I mean, I think both Mel Brooks and Monty Python are just quintessential to parody films. I've also seen Top Secret.
Top Secret is kind of okay. It's not the best of Leslie Nielsen's parody work, but
it's got Val Kilmer, and
Val Kilmer is good. Yeah, he's good in it. But I mean,
it's better than he is in Batman.
Yeah. Speaking of, oh wow. I don't know. I thought he was kind of okay in Batman Forever.
I mean, not as bad as Clooney, but
yeah,
he's like the second worst Batman still. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But anyway, we can't bring up Leslie Nielsen without bringing up the Naked Gun trilogy, which started as a television show called Police Story, and that was pretty classic. It actually kind of set the whole deadpan angle that the movies would take. And the first movie is just a classic of parody. It's an absolute classic. It's up there with like Spaceballs, and with Airplane and whatnot.
Yeah. Didn't they hire actors specifically that hadn't really done any parody work or comedy work?
Well, yeah, that's what was initially from Airplane.
Airplane did that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm mixing them up.
Airplane did that, but Naked Gun kind of continued that
that
angle.
trend.
Yeah,
knowing that deadpan works, and of course, I guess bringing in Nielsen.
Yeah, and the thing about that is Leslie Nielsen, he wasn't a comedy actor up to that point. He was very much a serious, actual drama actor. And when he did Airplane, that was like just a pipe bomb on the trajectory of his career. It just completely took him down an absolutely different path. And I think we're all the better for it, because the Naked Gun movies, I mean, yeah, there's some elements to it that can be a little bit problematic, especially in that third movie. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the first couple of movies, I mean, they're almost like, subversions of parody movies themselves in a way. They're parodies of parody.
Yeah.
Kind of.
In a lot of ways, yeah. In fact, you're kind of seeing that come full circle now, and some of the results aren't as good as they really should be.
Oh no, not at all.
But I think Scary Movie really it works because with Scream being still a somewhat serious movie,
Yeah.
I think it does kind of work. But when you start with something that is already comedy, you know, where are you going to go from there?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Scream's comedy,
Purely comedy, I guess.
Scream's comedy is, you know, just very baked into the actual script, into the actual story. It's a story-driven type of parody.
It's funny due to the absurdity of it, but not because it's like, oh my God, this, it's not like breaking the fourth wall, but it's still meta.
And to be fair, there's a lot of breaking the fourth wall in lots of these movies. But I mean,
and in Scary Movie there is, but it works, you know? It's like you wouldn't do a spoof movie of Deadpool. It just wouldn't work.
No, because that is a spoof movie anyways.
Right. That movie takes itself a little bit more comedically and less seriously.
And honestly, I mean, there's a reason why that movie really resonated for a time. You know, I mean, it feels like it's very forgotten.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yet another movie that we did an episode on. And honestly, I mean, I like to think that maybe that could have an effect on the future of parody. Because, I mean, that was actually a very well-written movie.
It's the closest thing that superhero movies have, like mainstream superhero movies have, or I guess I should say it's the closest thing Marvel movies have to a spoof movie.
Well, of course, they're a superhero movie.
Well, that's why I re-clarified, because I realized there are spoof movies of the superhero genre, but when we talk about mainstream like Marvel, DC, that's the closest we've really got to that.
Yeah, and honestly, I really like the approach that they took in that parody, you know, especially at the beginning when, you know, they just have the different credits where it's just like, you know, describing, you know, their roles in the movie and just not necessarily their names.
Yeah, it's great.
It's absolutely amazing.
I mean, they even do in Once Upon a Deadpool, they do a whole spoof on the intro to the Princess, or the frame narrative in The Princess Bride, and use it as the frame narrative of the movie. And they brought back what's his face?
What's his face? Oh, Fred Savage.
Fred Savage, yeah. I couldn't think of it. And Deadpool's playing the role of the grandpa. and Fred Savage is still in his clothes.
Oh, my God.
You know, in the room, and he's like, what the hell? And you know, like, they reference that Deadpool's bringing him in to redo that scene. I think they name dropped The Princess Bride, but I'm not sure. So
if they had to have. I mean, come on now.
So like I said, that one is very spoofy, but even that's not quite a spoof movie.
Yeah.
But it's very close. You know, and Scary Movie, I think, really, really hits the nail on the head for spoof movie.
Yeah. But there's some other notable movies and series that we could talk about before we move on. Like, for one, I think that you can take the trilogy of Family Guy Star Wars parodies and kind of say that, you know, maybe that's kind of the best way to go with it. Because, I mean, no matter what you think about how Family Guy is now, I think that these Star Wars parodies were really, really good spoofs. I mean, Family Guy really applied their own little angle and twist to everything, and it actually ended up being really compelling in all 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're into modern day parody films, like, I would actually go with the 3 Star Wars Family Guy episodes. And also, Not Another Teen Movie, to me, is probably one of the last really good parody movies, honestly. I mean, I don't think you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but, you know, like, I've seen the Chris Evans scene.
Oh, yeah, that classic Chris Evans scene, man.
I mean, that's a meme in and of itself.
But, I mean, it's not unlike Scary Movie in that it was really kind of parodying a particular mood in cinema at that point. You know, there was a lot of really raunchy, like, teen sex comedies that were coming out at the time. You know, American Pie was the progenitor of that. And that was the movie that just kind of took on that zeitgeist and really just completely tore it to pieces, honestly. And it's, to me, along with Scary Movie, the last great parody film, you know. And before we get into Scary Movie a little further, I mean, let's talk about, you know, the aforementioned Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
I've seen that one with you.
I mean, what's interesting about that is that, I mean, it's just more of a setup of like different sketches, like under the guise of a parody of Hood movies, you know?
Yeah.
And honestly, it's still a funny movie. I mean, I think that the humor holds up, you know? I mean, but it's the first time where you start to see zaniness kind of take over instead of more, you know, complex types of jokes in these movies, you know? It's where you start to see some of the complexity of it lost, but, you know, I'd say that Scary Movie kind of regained a little bit of that complexity that it lost there.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. To be fair, I think you could watch any of these while high and
completely, yeah, and you
And
can have a
enjoy
lot
yourself.
of fun. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I think that the next angle that we're going to really go at here is, how does Scary Movie stand up as a particular parody specifically of 90s horror tropes? And I mean, it really does kind of take a little bit of an examining lens on these types of tropes, like especially how Scary Movie used them, or how Scream used them.
yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, Scream was already poking fun at horror movies, and there were a lot of those tongue-in-cheek jokes. But here, they're just kind of just exaggerated, followed to their logical conclusion. And so you have extreme versions of those
tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and even some others, you know. And funny enough, they don't just pull from Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, which are the two main plots, but there's several references to all kinds of horror movies and even some non-horror movies as well.
Yeah, like especially the ending, which we'll get to here a little closer to the end of the episode. But yeah, I mean, I really like how it utilized its source material here, you know? Like, I mean, the teen sex comedy angle also kind of applies here because that's really what started to kind of bleed into horror movies at the time. You know, like, you could really see that, especially with I Know What You Did Last Summer, which they make fun of a lot, you know, like the whole Jennifer Love, huge tits
Yes.
jab and everything. It's like, you know, I mean, it's very much just taking a look at these 90s tropes that are specific to the 90s. I mean, a lot of these were tropes that did kind of bleed over from the 80s, but the 90s established a lot of its own tropage, you know?
Yeah.
And Scream is kind of the starting point for that. And I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of, you know, codified all those tropes,
Right.
you know? Like, I mean, especially the whole angle of the mysterious killer that, you know, is somehow involved with the past of the final girl. You know, that was a little bit of a different take on slashers. You know, like, I mean, you had like Michael Myers, like he's just killing just because he can, and you know, you have Jason, he kills because, you know, he was wronged. You know, that's what it is. Like here we have slasher killers that are actually, you know, connected to the victims that they're tormenting. Like for instance in Scream and everything. And also especially in I Know What You Did Last Summer. I mean, the entire cast pretty much has a hand in the accident that causes those chain of events to take effect, you know.
Right.
So I mean, I really like how Scary Movie kind of just took all of that and just ran with it.
And I like how the I Know What You Did Last Summer plot is interwoven into the Scream plot. I think it's done really well, and even how a lot of the other horror movie allusions are implemented into the story
Doesn't it
kind of make sense.
Doesn't it kind of say something about Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer that you could take their plots, pretty much mix them together, and it doesn't even miss a beat? I mean, I don't know if you've seen I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I haven't, but I know the general outline of it, and I know what Scary Movie was doing with it.
Yeah.
And I like how they use that, and basically they just throw that into the backstory of replacing, of course, Sidney Prescott's
whole
her mother, the backstory with her mother.
Yeah.
You know, it replaces that instead, and it's this thing that the character Cindy was involved in, and all the other characters.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that they do a really good job kind of working those plots at the same time. And they even kind of subvert your expectations with the reveal of the killer.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that that's another trope that this movie really exaggerates and just takes to the nth degree is the whole twist angle. Because by that point, we've already had, a couple of M. Night Shyamalan movies, so he's already introduced that type of, trope into the cinematic lexicon. So, I mean, but also using The Usual Suspects as a conduit for that. I mean, I thought that was actually a really decent callback when you really think about it.
Yeah, the twist ending is actually a lot of fun.
And it pokes fun at the concept of a twist ending in and of itself,
But it's actually a good twist ending. It took me by surprise. It is actually kind of intelligently written.
But the thing is that the twist ending has kind of a great punchline to it, in that ultimately it doesn't really matter to the plot at all.
No,
I mean, the actual killers throughout the movie are, Marlon Wayne, are Sean Wayans and, Cindy's boyfriend. I mean, that's what I kind of feel like. They're the actual main killers within the narrative.
Well, no, I think they established that they were going to kill, but they didn't actually do it.
Oh, yeah.
Doofy actually was the one that killed everybody.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I'm stupid. I'm not remembering this shit well at all.
You saw it twice recently.
I've seen this movie so many times. It just kind of blurs after a little bit sometimes, but it doesn't really affect my enjoyment of the movie.
But it works because everybody's seen Scream, so we know the twist ending. And so we're actually expecting them to be revealed as the killers. And then we come to find out that we're half right. They were planning to commit a murder, but they're not the actual killers.
Yeah.
It's someone else. And then we get the identity of that person. It just the most perfect twist ending ever. And I really enjoyed that. I love how they took that and they worked off of it, because everything else beat for beat is pretty much almost everything else is Scream, right? They even make fun of it at one point in the movie where, one of the characters comes up and he's like, wasn't it Shorty?
Yeah, it was Shorty.
And he was like, this is exactly like Scream. I mean, the dialogue is exactly the same. Did you guys see that movie last year or something? Whatever he says,
Oh, yeah. It just pretty much just lays its hand out bare right there.
Yes.
Just be like, yeah, this is what we're doing.
And they do. I mean, it even starts out the exact same way. You've got a Carmen Electra playing a character named Drew.
Yeah, that is perfect in and of itself.
Instead of Drew Barrymore. And it's just fucking amazing. I mean, that totally sets the tone of the movie.
Just like in Scream with the Drew Barrymore scene. I
True.
mean, it's actually a really good note-for-note retelling of that scene that still uses sight gags to good effect.
Yeah.
And
it mostly ages well. There are a couple jokes in there. I mean, they do rely a little bit on race jokes and homophobia to some extent.
Ableism.
Huge ableism. But they're jokes. I don't think you're meant to be taking it seriously. After all, this was directed and written by black people. So any of the jokes aimed at black people, are kind of in that taste.
I'm reporting for black TV. White people are dead. We'll get the fuck out of here.
Right. So, I feel like it's okay to laugh at those.
That's one of the best jokes in the entire movie, I think. Honestly.
Actually, it is.
That is one of the best things. It's they just got the fuck out of there. I respect that.
I don't know. I just really like the what's up scene with the killer. And then, of course, whenever he's just getting along with them and, getting high and shit.
Oh, that's great, man.
Both of those is just fucking... I love it.
But, I mean... in many ways, it's kind of both a parody and maybe even kind of an homage to that particular era of 90s horror. I mean, not only did you have Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, you also had stuff like The Faculty, you had stuff like The Craft and Cry Wolf. Cry Wolf, which is actually a bit of a deconstruction of these types of movies in and of itself. Not necessarily in a satirical kind, just more in a straight narrative type.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But, I mean... the next angle that I wanted to tackle here when it comes to this movie, because like I said, it's difficult to really review this movie on a narrative sense. Maybe when it comes to the characters somewhat, but as far as the narrative,
you can't do as much of an analysis there. I mean, it's kind of like our last episode, Blade. I mean, this isn't like a masterpiece of cinema or anything.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. But I kind of wanted to talk about how in many ways it kind of feels like a love letter to the movie Scream and to I Know What You Did Last Summer itself. Like, I mean, I think that's really what makes this movie work, is that it's still it's self-aware, but it's also still a little bit reverential to its source material, if you get what I mean.
It is. I really do think so, because, you know, in some of the later attempts at spoof movies, you know, it's sort of just like they're just throwing things in there for the sake of referencing them. This uses those, and not only that, but you know, it's not necessarily it's not even really making fun of Scream. It's just taking it to its logical extreme.
Hello.
Want to have a little fun?
Who is this?
Tell me your name and I'll tell you mine.
I don't think so.
Do you like scary movies? What's that noise?
Oops. I farted. I didn't think you would hear me.
Oh, stinky.
From the people who had nothing to do with Scream.
Daddy! Daddy! Decker got killed last night. She sits next to me in English class. Was she a friend? No. I was gonna cheat off her test today.
They didn't make the rules.
Oh my God, he's dead!
They're just too stupid to follow them.
We have to call the police.
No way! I ain't going to jail. It's okay, I'm fine.
We'll get rid of the vibe.
This summer,
there are certain rules to follow in order to survive a horror movie. Rule number 1.
don't answer the phone.
I'm in the house. You know where I am.
You're behind the couch. I can see your feet.
What? Oh.
Don't run in the woods.
I'm so scared right now.
Don't talk to reporters.
The press only wants to interview the most ignorant person they can find.
I'm on TV! Oh, gee! First cops, now this!
And whatever you do, don't be afraid to rise to the occasion.
Oh!
Ah, gee.
Dimension Films presents
That's my girl!
I just want you to look at some photos. Tell me what you think. No? No? All right. Well, worth a shot.
Go, 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 go!
Oh, man.
Scary Movie.
Can I tell you a secret? I see dead people.
This is awesome!
I mean, in one scene, you've got in Scream, you've got in the garage scene where you've got the best friend of the main character,
Rose McGowan. That's
Rose McGowan. Yeah, and you've got her just sort of kind of criticizing, the way that the Ghostface killer is working or whatever. But then you've got, of course, in this movie, they have the garage scene, but they actually throw this earlier in the film, and it's in the school in the locker room.
Yeah, that's with Shannon Elizabeth's character.
When you have Shannon Elizabeth's character just taking that to literally the next level, and while she's getting stabbed and even decapitated and shit, she's just criticizing the killer the entire time. Like, and this is so cliche.
I love how the killer is just like, oh God, stop, just stop. He's just so frustrated with her.
They do the head nod and everything. It's what's funny, but then it just keeps going.
Yeah,
and that's where that's one of the moments in this movie that really made me feel like this film doesn't give a fuck.
No, it doesn't.
No fucks given.
But I mean, it's just really how this movie, it just follows the actual storyline of Scream, like note for note, and like we said, managed to find a way to throw I Know What You Did Last Summer in there.
Yeah, into the backstory, and even kind of throw that back into the way that the killer gets revealed. And so I think that it's, I think that it's well done, even with the low budget that they had. And I think the kind of short production time that this
it was only really put together in like less than a year, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the difference with like Scary Movie 2, for instance, is that they had a bigger budget and more time to kind of work on it.
Yeah.
But this movie almost kind of has the charm that it has because of the way that it is. It's in a lot of ways just a love letter to horror movies, even though it's sort of poking fun at them, and to Scream as well. Like you said, it treats it, with some reverence. And I think that there's more of an aspect of, the writers kind of the Wayans brothers actually expressing how they really, the story that they actually want to, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
No studio interference or.
And it's sad what happened with their involvement with Scary Movie and everything. Like they had their creation taken away from them like by the third movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably could have gotten a little glimpse of what was to come. I mean, Marlon Wayans did make another parody of horror movies. He made a parody of like Paranormal Activity and Sinister and all that.
Wasn't a haunted house?
Yeah, it was a haunted house or something like that. I'm not really sure what the title was. We'll figure it out afterwards.
I think that's the one he did, a haunted house.
Yeah, but I mean, that was actually interesting because they actually managed to fit the parody within the framework of a found footage movie. That's what was kind of brilliant about it. They managed to parody found footage movies by making a found footage movie.
That's awesome. They do that a little bit. There is that callback to Blair Witch Project, but it's just for the one scene. If they made an entire movie from that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, man. Oh, and yeah, the Blair Witch Project parody in this movie, top notch with Sherry O'Terry.
Yes.
It's after she's literally up there reporting on the killer as he's killing his latest victim. And she's just like, get the fuck out of here. Don't you fucking put me on camera. And they actually nail that scene down perfectly. They nail it down. And I love the fountain of snot.
What is it? Gail
Weathers.
Gail Weathers is the original character.
That's the original. It's like, I don't remember what her parody name was. I don't remember.
It was
God
something.
God damn it! We need to stop shibbying so much.
It was more. it was definitely more on the nose.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, I guess that we can probably start kind of wrapping things up a little bit here. I mean, we don't want to keep the boils and ghouls from their trick-or-treating. Isn't that right, Ash?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We don't want to keep them waiting from their candies, most of which are not vegan, but... Oh, fuck you.
Whatever.
I guess we just find some vegan edibles and celebrate that way, right?
Hey, you know what, guys? Watch your kids' Halloween weed this year. They might slip in some candy.
Stupid. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start getting into our final thoughts about Scary Movie. Like, Ash, we'll start with you. Take it away.
Scary Movie, like I said before, is just a lot of fun. And it definitely appeals to, I think, stoner culture in a lot of ways. I mean, in particular, there is that scene, and there is the one character, Shorty. But I think, just the overall plot appeals to that. It's a very fun movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and yet it still exhibits
kind of a charm.
And there's a quality to the direction.
There's a relatability to it, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't feel like it talks down to its audience.
No,
ever.
It doesn't. And a lot of the other scary movies I've heard, I've heard do, and I haven't watched all of them, but I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and honestly, you should totally watch Scary Movie 2. I mean, it's good for what it was. They managed to put it together in less than 9 months, which is kind of impressive, and that is kind of where you see the mishmash approach to parody kind of being implemented there, but that was still when the Wayans had their hands on it. And so, I mean, it was still a very funny and quality comedy movie, And at that point, they were making fun of, like House on Haunted Hill and whatnot, and more like haunted house movies. I mean, and later on, they'd start parodying, like, the Japanese horror movies and whatnot.
I guess there's really only one more thing I really have to say about Scary Movie.
Yeah.
What's up?
God. Oh, my God. Sorry, everybody, if that clips out really hardcore. God damn it. You need to tell me these things in advance.
Oh, was I supposed to mouth it?
I guess so, or something. It's like you don't even know what that's from.
It's from the Budweiser commercial.
Okay, you only saw that because you saw it on YouTube. You only found out today.
Okay, you're right, but I thought the scene stood on its own. I watched it and laughed my ass off.
There's that last part where he's just like, "What are you doing?"
To be honest,
chilling, killing. Robert says that to us all the fucking time.
Yeah, he does.
That motherfucker.
What's that? You know what? I've seen a lot of other movies reference that, so I just thought it was a thing that people did.
It was a little bit of a, dare I say, an early meme.
It was a 90s thing. Yeah,
it was a 90s thing. Yeah,
it was a 90s thing. If you're not a 90s kid, then you're not something, the peak of blah, blah, blah.
The peak of civilization. These were the greatest times of your life you didn't even know. I've seen memes to that effect, honestly. But yeah, for me, Scary Movie is one of those films that's, like a really, really big, comfortable blanket. Like I can just put it on, just dive in, and I know that it's going to be comforting. I know it's going to be funny. I know it's going to make me feel a certain way, the same way all the time. It's a consistent type of parody. And I do lament the way that this particular genre of cinema has gone. I mean, especially knowing how deep its roots are in the history of cinema, And this right here, to me, is one of the last great parody movies. It's really the last of its kind in many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, Not Another Teen Movie notwithstanding, and, some of the other examples we gave, but yeah, I mean, this is a specific mood right here that I kind of miss. I miss good parody movies. I miss that. I mean, unless a lot of the newer crop of filmmakers, they're just going to do parody movies in just a different approach or whatever. But,
I'm willing to bet there are some independent films that kind of, regained this quality to them. Or if there isn't, it's going to happen.
I would say so. I mean, and, it's kind of bled into the YouTube crowd. Like, you'll find a lot of, they're a lot shorter most of the time, but you'll find a lot of movies that kind of, the short films and videos and whatnot, that'll kind of, parody much in the same way that they did before, but with a different angle, but just with an entirely different approach. And honestly, I want this type of cinema to come back. I think that it's time for the parody movie to have another comeback. Scary Movie was actually what kind of propagated that comeback in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't lead to anything of quality, but
it did represent a comeback.
It represented a comeback, but also, unfortunately, it represented a shift in the genre. And it's just kind of sad to see it go the way it did. I mean, I sat down and I watched Date Movie the first time. I had a stone cold resting bitch face the entire time. Like, I was just like, what happened? This shit's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be hilarious. I didn't laugh once. It was like Master of Disguise. It's almost on the same level as Master of Disguise for me. I didn't fucking laugh at it. An epic movie. Oh, no, don't. Oh,
nothing's worse than a movie that's trying to be funny and isn't.
Oh, it's seriously, man.
That's literally the worst kind of bad movie I think that exists.
And epic movie and date movie are those movies tenfold. Like, epic movie is practically unwatchable. And it has the late, great Fred Willard in it, which pisses me off, man. That was one of his last really good roles. And he played like the lion, you know, because they were making fun of Lion Witch in the Wardrobe or some stupid bullshit.
Yeah, I saw Epic Movie a long time ago. I was a kid, so I think I actually kind of enjoyed the boyish humor and just how
You're calling this boyish? I don't think even little boys come up with shit like this. Come on now.
I mean, that's really what it was for me. It was one of the first movies I saw that just kind of went out there.
Yes, I mean, seriously, I wouldn't even call that humor juvenile or childish because that would insult juveniles, you know? That would insult children. Like, seriously.
But yeah, I mean, if you watch that shit, you know, grown up, it doesn't hold up. This movie holds up, you know?
It does. It holds up tremendously well. I mean, and yeah, there are problematic elements to it. I mean, as with a lot of movies from this era, you know, like we're watching the more transphobic part right now with the gym coach.
Yeah, transphobia is not cool.
Yeah, that's not cool. And of course, the severe ableism with Doofy, which is kind of weird because there's been a real like cult resurgence of that character. Like the actor who did that character, he actually reprised the role going around in California during the pandemic.
Yeah, you talked
like
about this.
With this 6-foot plank of wood with a bunch of dildos, like in full character, like trying to get people to socially distance. And it was actually kind of awesome, you know?
You know, it's funny. And as somebody that has autism, I take it in good stride. I don't think that kind of humor would really fly today.
No.
But I think it's mostly okay.
And of course it sets up that, you know, twist ending.
Because Doofy is an endearing character. And actually, you know, in reality, you're right. It sets up the twist ending. I mean, if you think about it, because he really wasn't actually mentally challenged.
No, he wasn't. He was playing the role.
It kind of makes it okay.
So I mean, within the confines of the movie, it actually makes even more sense because that seems like exactly like what a bastard killer would think that, you know, mentally challenged people are like, you know?
Exactly. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that he'd be ableist to that degree. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that this is, you know, just a classic. It's especially fun to put on around Halloween. I mean, I'm sure that maybe that's a good little tradition to have, like maybe midway through October is just watch all the scary movies. Just throw all Abandoned in the Wind and just watch all of them.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good experience, but it'll be an experience. Needless to say. So, yeah, check out this movie, maybe the second movie, and then afterwards just mourn the death of our beloved parody genre. Please, let's hope that it makes a comeback. Because I think that in this day and age, we need a good parody movie. I mean, I know that real life in and of itself is kind of a farcical parody of itself, you know. But, you know, maybe we need something like this again.
Not another pandemic movie?
No. We already had that. That was the Corona Zombies movie.
Is that a thing?
No, that's 100% a thing.
Yes!
And it's from Full Moon Productions. And they have a Tiger King movie, and they have a Murder Hornets movie. Yes, yes, that happened. That happened in 2020. We are in the strangest timeline. Seriously. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, that's our thoughts on Scary Movie. And we do hope that everybody has a happy Halloween. And as we said at the beginning of the episode, we still have lots of Halloween goodness to give you for the rest of this month. Of course, we have our Scream episode, which is going to be coming out with Stu from Stu World Lord Productions. We're going to have our Halloween Kills episode. Hopefully, we'll have Robert on that one because he's our resident Michael Myers Halloween expert. You know, he knows all the timelines and everything.
Yeah, true.
And then we are going to do the Horrific Hope Mental Health Awareness-a-thon with victims and villains and a bunch of other podcasts. And we're going to be talking about the illustrious Elvira, a.k.a. Cassandra Peterson. And we're going to review Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And we're just going to talk about this iconic character and the woman behind it. I mean, it's really, really awesome. She's a real wholesome character, and I think that it's worth talking about.
And look forward to Collateral Gaming at the Victims and Villains live stream as well. We're going to be doing something horror video game related. Haven't quite figured it out yet, but we'll figure something out. And we're also doing our Halloween special.
Dude. a live stream of Five Nights at Freddy's.
That could honestly work.
No, I'm actually joking. Don't do that.
Okay.
Five Nights at Freddy's is played out.
It's so played out. I mean, it's kind of like it's one of those. It's like Fortnite.
I will say that the newer game looks kind of interesting because it looks like more of a traditional survival horror.
There's a newer game coming out. They're still milking that shit.
It's already out, and it's actually more of a full-fledged game, and not like you're just sitting in a goddamn control room.
I don't know. I guess I just don't pay attention to that side of the gaming world. But
yeah,
I look forward to that, and we're also going to be doing our Halloween special on Outlast.
Oh, I really, really, really want to be on that, man. I'll even start. When are you going to record that?
Probably closer to Halloween.
Cool. Like I'll watch some gameplay footage or something, or I'll find it and I'll play it or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably next week we'll probably,
because that's like a good disturbing game. You know how we do disturbing movies? Well, that's a disturbing game right there.
It is. It is a disturbing game. I'm almost scared to play it. Right? Actually, I have to take breaks.
It's nothing for me. I've been playing violent, gory video games and watching violent, gory movies for most of my life. It's not that it's violent
or gory. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
It's just legitimately terrifying.
Oh yeah, the subject matter. I mean, you're going into a mental health facility.
Not even the subject matter. It's just the psychological horror that it plays on.
Yeah.
In terms of gameplay. But we'll get into that, of course, on that episode. But yeah, look forward to that and something Halloween related for the bonus round as well.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I'd like to see what y'all pick. It's like maybe go back and pick, horror related stuff from like the 16-bit era or something.
That could be cool.
Or from the PlayStation era. Like go over like the most notable survival horror games on the PlayStation or something like that.
That could be cool.
Yeah, those are suggestions, But,
yeah, we'll figure something out.
But yeah, and maybe I want to be on that episode depending on what you pick. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of Collateral Cinema Season 5. I mean, we've got a lot planned. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, next month is the prequels, the Star Wars prequels.
Next month is the Star Wars prequels.
With the Spy Hards podcast, which, by the way, I need to get with them here pretty soon.
Maybe we could throw in our director's cut that month. Could be something related to Star Wars. Like,
yeah,
I'd love to get into like either Clone Wars or Mandalorian or
Clone Wars. I'm actually more familiar with Clone Wars than with Mandalorian.
It could be cool.
Yeah, because I mean that came on Toonami for a little while.
Or maybe talk about the new Clone Wars kind of sequel series or offshoot, which is The Bad Batch, which is actually pretty good.
The Bad Batch. Okay.
Maybe throw that in there. I don't know. We'll figure something out, but
yeah, definitely. But that's something to look forward to. And as for Collateral Cinema Director's Cut, I think that we're probably going to be diving into Cowboy Bebop very soon. Like, I mean, I'm kind of debating what to do there because I think that it would be cool to do a recurring series, on the director's cut, like maybe every other month or so, where we dive into a specific episode of Cowboy Bebop. Like maybe even just make that a podcast on its own. I don't know. Like just a limited series podcast or whatever.
That could be cool. With the Netflix series coming out next month, I think we definitely need to talk about it. Like we make that. I don't know if that we would consider that a director's cut or an At the Movies episode because it's a TV series.
We put it under director's cut, but that's why I said maybe make it just a limited podcast series in its own right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh, so you are talking about the Netflix series?
I'm talking about the original anime.
Oh, the original anime.
Oh,
yeah.
I really want to talk about that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot to get into with that shit.
There really is. Yeah. We could start off with the Netflix series because they'll release the whole season. We can binge that. Talk about it.
You're right.
And then, like you said, maybe come back to it. But we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, we will. We will. I mean, we might do that during our anime month. I don't know. But anyway, with Collateral Cinema, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We are also on Patreon. Check us out there. We have full-length feature commentaries there, and once we start getting some more patrons and some more money coming in, we might start producing some more content there. So some other content, maybe some polls or some Q&As or whatever. Like I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Something
there. Yeah, but check us out there. We have tiers starting off at $1, and also check us out wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, we're on iHeartRadio. You can find us on YouTube. And also look for the upcoming feature film. I guess it's a feature. I don't know.
Texas Sundown.
Texas Sundown. Written and directed by Robert Ortegon, and also we're somewhat involved in that somewhere along the line. But yeah, look for that. And yeah, thanks for listening to our Halloween edition of Collateral Cinema Director's Cut. I mean, anything else to say? I mean, you want to maybe talk about something spooky?
I mean, just everybody have a safe Halloween. Obviously, we're still on pandemic rules, but if you're going trick-or-treating, just be safe and follow, general precautions. And everybody watch your back out there.
Yeah, definitely. Watch
Respect
your
your kids' candy and whatnot.
Exactly.
And smoke that Halloween weed.
Yeah, don't be giving your edibles to kids.
Don't be giving your edibles to kids.
Not that anybody does that anyway, but
Right.
But anyway, with that said, I guess that we can go ahead and close this episode up. Happy Halloween, boys and ghouls. Collateral Cinema Director's Cut is out.
I'm totally insane. I promise you pain. I'm totally insane. I promise you pain. I'm totally insane. And let me tell you once again, I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I promise you pain. I'm totally insane. I promise you pain. I'm totally insane. I promise you pain. I'm totally insane. I promise you pain. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking. I'm the badass. There ain't nobody. Your eyes cold because I'm the fucking.
Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.